The sky turned red. The day started like any other. The sun rose slowly, lighting the small town with a soft orange glow. Birds sang, and the wind moved gently through the trees. But something felt wrong. Eli stood outside his wooden cabin, looking up. He was 22, quiet, and lived alone after his parents passed away. The sky was changing. It was not blue anymore. It had turned red, deep, dark red, like blood. He had never seen anything like it. At first, he thought it was just dust in the air, or maybe a storm. But then the birds stopped singing. The wind became still. Everything turned silent. Too silent. Eli took out his phone to check the news, but there was no signal, no Wi-Fi, no bars. Confused, he walked inside and tried the radio. Only static. His heartbeat picked up. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Later that day, Eli rode his bike into the town center, but the streets were empty. Shops were closed. Cars left in the middle of the road. Doors wide open. No people. He knocked on a few doors. No answer. Fear began to creep into his chest. He was alone. Or so he thought. As the sun started to set, the red sky grew darker. It looked like fire above the clouds. Then he heard it. A soft, low hum from far away, like a machine or a whisper. It wasn't coming from the ground. It was coming from the sky. He looked up again and saw something. A small, shining object falling from above. It moved fast, leaving a bright trail behind it. It wasn't a plane, it was something else. Then it crashed into the forest behind his house. The ground shook slightly. Birds flew from the trees. Smoke began to rise in the distance. Eli didn't think. He just ran. He grabbed his flashlight jacket and a small knife. His legs carried him fast through the trees, following the smoke. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Like everything was holding its breath. After 10 minutes of running, he reached the crash site. A large circle of trees was burned black. Smoke floated in the air. In the middle, there was a glowing metal pod half open like a broken egg. It hummed softly. Eli stepped closer. Then he saw her. A girl, maybe 17 or 18, was lying on the ground near the pod. She had glowing blue, lines on her skin and silver hair. Her clothes looked strange, like something from a different world. She was breathing, but weak. Eli froze. She wasn't human, still she looked peaceful, not dangerous. He walked closer and knelt beside her. Her eyes were closed. He gently touched her shoulder. Suddenly her eyes opened. They were bright, glowing white, with no pupils. Eli stumbled, back. The girl stared at him. Then, in a soft voice, she said something he didn't understand. It wasn't English. It sounded alien, like music and math at the same time. Eli shook his head. "I don't understand," he whispered. The girl blinked slowly, then coughed. She touched her chest, then pointed at the sky. "They are coming," she said, this time in broken English. Eli's eyes widened. "Who's coming?" She tried to sit up but couldn't. Eli looked around. The forest was dark now. The red sky gave everything a strange color. He heard another sound, a faint clicking, like metal tapping on metal. Something else was in the woods. He turned to her. "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly. He helped her up. She leaned on him, her body light but cold like touching smooth glass. Together they started moving back toward his cabin. Behind them, something moved through the trees, slow, watching. The girl looked back, her face full of fear. She whispered, "Not much time." As they reached the edge of the forest, the sky cracked with a strange light, not thunder, not lightning, something different. Eli didn't ask more questions. He just helped her inside the cabin and locked the door. For the first time in his life, he felt like the world he knew was gone, and something far bigger had just begun. She's not human. The red sky didn't go away. It stayed there, glowing like an open wound across the heavens. Strange lights passed through the clouds during the night. Some looked like stars. Others moved like living things. Eli didn't sleep. He sat in the corner of his small wooden cabin, eyes wide open. A kitchen, knife in one hand, a flashlight in the other. The alien girl lay on his bed, breathing slow but steady. She hadn't said another word since they came back from the crash site. He didn't know what she was or where she came from. But one thing was clear. She was not human. Her skin glowed, faintly in the dark. Thin, silver-blue lines ran down her arms, pulsing gently like they were alive. Her hair shimmered like metal under moonlight, and her eyes, when open, held no pupils, no whites, just glowing light, like distant stars. He had bandaged the cut on her leg. She didn't bleed red. It was blue and thick, like paint. He wanted to run, leave, hide. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way she looked at him earlier. Like she wasn't just afraid. She was trying to protect him. At dawn, she finally opened her eyes again. Eli stepped forward, careful, slow.
Can you understand me?
She blinked slowly. Then she said something again. Soft, musical, impossible to understand. Eli shook his head. I don't know what you're saying. The girl looked around the room, eyes resting on old photos, books, tools, and the window, showing the burning red sky. Her face was calm, but her eyes were heavy with sadness. Then she did something unexpected. She touched the side of her neck, a small circular device almost invisible, and pressed it. Her voice changed, mechanical, broken. Language, adjusting, Earth, English. She took a deep breath. Then, in clearer words, she said, My name is Sari. I come from a planet called Tirene. I did not mean to crash. I was running. Eli stared at her. Running from what? Sari looked down. From them. The ones who broke your sky. Before Eli could ask more, the cabin shook. A low rumble passed through the ground. Dishes rattled. The window cracked a little. Sari sat up, alarm in her face. They found me. Eli ran to the window. Nothing but trees and the red sky. Then from far away he saw it. A dark shape in the sky. Not flying like a plane. Floating, like it was searching. What is that? He asked. Sari stood up slowly, wincing in pain. A seeker. They hunt my kind. Eli turned to her. Why are they here? Why Earth? Sari looked into his eyes. Because your planet is dying. And I tried to stop it. Eli didn't understand. Sari walked to the middle of the room, raised her hand, and tapped on a small stone on her wrist. A blue hologram appeared in the air. It showed Earth from space, but not the Earth he knew. In this image, the Earth's center, its core, was glowing bright white, with cracks spreading out from it like veins. Then the light flickered. The planet began to turn dark. Storms, fire, collapse. Eli's mouth went dry. That's Earth? Sari nodded. Yes, your planet's core is artificial. It was built long ago by ancient travelers, not from Earth. It is breaking now. Why? Because someone is draining it. To open something terrible. Eli backed away. This was too much. Aliens, ancient tech, dying planets. This doesn't make sense, he shouted. Sari looked at him, her voice calm but urgent. You are human. You must know. Your people forgot the truth. Earth is not natural. It is a vessel, a key. Eli felt like the floor was falling under his feet. A key to what? Before Sari could answer, the cabin shook again, harder this time. A loud metallic screech echoed through the trees outside. Eli ran to the door, opened it slightly, and peeked out. That's when he saw it. A tall black machine, 8 feet, high and moving between the trees. It had no face, just a glowing red eye in the center. Long limbs, sharp blades, and it hovered slightly off the ground. It wasn't walking, it was floating, searching, and it was heading toward the cabin. Sari grabbed his arm. "You must not let it see me." Eli's brain screamed to run, to hide. But something inside him, courage he didn't know he had, took over. He grabbed a heavy blanket and threw it over Sari, then hid her under the floor trap door used for winter storage. "You stay there. Don't move." She looked at him. "It will kill you." He gave a small, nervous smile. "Yeah, probably." He closed the trap door just as the machine reached the porch. Knock. Not with a hand, with metal fingers. The door bent inward slightly. Eli stepped forward, heart racing, breathing hard. He opened the door and looked into the eye of something not made by this world. The hunter in the dark. The red sky loomed above like a warning. The air felt heavier now. Every breath Eli took seemed tighter in his chest. The black machine stood in front of him, tall and silent, with a single red eye glowing in the middle of its smooth face. It had no mouth, no expression, just a voice that sounded like metal grinding on metal. "You have made contact with the lost one. Turn her over, or be destroyed." Eli felt sweat roll down his back. He tried to speak, but his mouth was dry. He had never seen anything like this, something that looked alive but wasn't. He lied. "I don't know what you're talking about." The red eye flickered. The machine scanned his body again. Eli tried to stay calm, then without warning, the machine raised one long arm. Its fingers opened, and a glowing needle shot out fast as lightning. It stabbed into the wooden floor behind Eli, just inches from the trap door. Sari was under there. Eli's eyes widened. The machine knew. He had no choice. He grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall and threw it at the machine's eye. It hit with a loud bang, and smoke sprayed everywhere. The machine screeched. Eli didn't wait. He jumped across the room, yanked open the trap door, and pulled Sari out. "Run!" They burst out the back door just as the machine smashed through the front wall like a tank. Pieces of wood and glass flew everywhere. The forest was dark, but Eli didn't stop to look back. He just ran. Behind them, the machine chased, floating, above the ground, slicing through trees like they were paper, its red eye glowing brighter in the dark. Sari was weak. She stumbled, holding her side. Her breathing was shallow. "We won't outrun it," she said. Eli looked around. The only way was deeper into the forest. "There's a place," he said. "An old mine. No one goes there anymore. Maybe it can't follow us underground." They ran downhill, the ground wet and muddy. The sounds of the machine grew louder behind them, crunching leaves, metal claws snapping branches. Finally, they reached the mine. It was half buried, covered in vines and old warning signs. "Danger. Do not enter," written in faded paint. Eli pulled Sari inside. The tunnel was narrow, cold, and silent. They moved carefully, the only light coming from Sari's glowing skin and a flickering flashlight Eli found in his jacket. For a moment, they were safe, but they didn't speak. They just breathed. After a while, they reached a small chamber inside the mine. The air was damp. Old mining tools were still lying around. Eli leaned Sari against a rock and sat beside her. He looked at her glowing wounds. "You're hurt." She nodded. "Your planet's air. It's poison for me. I can stay a little longer, but not forever." Eli looked down. He didn't know what to say. She looked at him. "Why did you help me?" He shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe because I was alone. And so were you." She gave a small, tired smile. Then her face turned serious. "They're not just after me. They're after something hidden inside this planet. Something powerful. Something ancient. It's buried under your cities, under your oceans. I was sent to protect it." Eli frowned. "Protect what?" Sari hesitated, then whispered, "A memory. A message left behind by the ones who built your world. Eli tried to understand. You mean Earth was built? Yes. Long ago. Not by your kind. Eli's thoughts raced. Everything he believed about the world. Wrong. Sari sat up straighter even though it hurt. If the enemy finds that memory, they will unlock something terrible, and then Earth will break from the inside. Suddenly, a sharp clang echoed through the tunnel. Eli stood up. The flashlight flickered. A red light appeared at the far end of the mine. They found us, Sari whispered. The hunter was inside. Eli grabbed an old iron rod and stood in front of her. The red light moved closer. Closer. Eli could see the hunter now, its body too large for the tunnel, dragging metal limbs behind it, sparks flying as it scraped along the rock. Then, just before it reached them, Sari raised her hand. A pulse of white light shot from her palm, hitting the tunnel wall. The rocks shook. Cracks formed above. She turned to Eli. "Run, I will bring it down on us." "No," Eli shouted. "You'll be trapped." "There's no time." The hunter screamed and lunged forward. Sari released the full force of her energy. The tunnel collapsed behind Eli in a roar of dust and stone. Eli crawled out of the tunnel, coughing, his eyes full of tears and smoke. He turned back, but the entrance was gone, buried under rock and silence. Sari? No answer. She was gone, or worse, still inside. And above him, in the red sky, something new appeared. A second hunter. Bigger than the first, watching him, waiting. The secret beneath. The tunnel had collapsed, and so had Eli's hope. Dust clung to his clothes. His hands bled from the rocks. His heart beat like a war drum inside his chest. He stood alone at the edge of the fallen mine, staring at the sealed stone in silence, waiting for a voice that never came. "Sorry," he whispered. "Please." But no answer. Only the wind, cold and sharp like a blade. Then, above the trees, a sound. A low, humming vibration. Not like the first hunter. This one was deeper, heavier. Eli turned. Floating just above the forest was something massive. Not a drone, not a machine, but a ship. Dark and smooth like glass and shadow. Its shape was oval with long wings that bent like bones, pulsing with red light. And beneath it, another hunter. Taller, armed. It did not move. It only watched him. Eli ran. He didn't know where, just away, through trees and thorns, across broken paths. The world felt colder. The red sky above seemed to pulse with anger. He didn't stop until he reached the town. But the town was not the same anymore. Cars were frozen in the streets. Buildings had strange cracks in the walls. Machines didn't work. Lights blinked strangely, like something was interfering with time itself. And then he saw the people, standing still, eyes open, but not moving. Eli walked past a woman holding a shopping bag. Her body was frozen mid-step. Her lips were parted like she was about to speak, but no words came out. A man sat on a bench, not breathing, not blinking. Just paused, like the whole town was caught in a single second. Eli backed away slowly. Something was happening to time, or maybe reality. Suddenly, a voice behind him. "They're not dead, just out of sync." Eli turned fast. A man stood at the edge of the street. Gray coat, hood pulled low, a strange device hanging from his belt. He didn't look frozen, he looked calm. "Who are you?" Eli asked. The man stepped forward. "Someone who's been watching you since you were born." "What are you talking about?" The man pulled back his hood. Eli froze. It was his father. But that was impossible. His father had died years ago in a fire. He'd seen the body, he remembered the funeral, the grave, and yet here he was, alive, older, tired, but alive. "Dad?" The man nodded. "I had to disappear, to protect you, and to protect what's inside you." Eli shook his head. "No, this can't be real." "It is." You were never just human, Eli. The ground beneath them rumbled. The sky flashed again. His father held out a small cube, glowing faintly. It floated above his hand, spinning slowly. This is a key, he said, to a chamber buried beneath the earth. Your blood is the other half. Eli stepped back. Why me? Because your mother wasn't from this world. The words hit like thunder. Eli tried to breathe, tried to think. But everything around him was breaking. Time, truth, even his own identity. His father looked him in the eye. The hunters aren't just after Sari, they're after you too. You're the last link to the architects, the ones who built the core. Where is the chamber? His father pointed toward the mountains. There's a door hidden beneath the old observatory. You have to find it before they do. Eli nodded slowly. But what about Sari? His father looked down. If she's still alive, she'll find you. She was designed to. Another tremor. The frozen people flickered, like broken film. Eli turned to run, but then the air behind him shimmered. The sky split. A portal opened, floating in the middle of the street. Through it, he could see another world. Dark mountains, black oceans, a giant creature floating in the sky like a god with too many arms, and something was coming through. The hunters had found the gateway. His father pushed the cube into Eli's hand. Go, now. I'll hold them off. But go! Eli turned and ran again. Behind him, the street cracked. The sky screamed. His past was a lie. His blood wasn't human, and under the mountain, the truth waited for him. As Eli reached the icky edge of town, he saw something standing in the woods, covered in dirt, barely alive, eyes glowing faintly. It was Sari, but she was not alone. Behind her stood a child, not human, with silver skin and eyes that held stars. And Sari's voice, weak but clear. They're awakening, Eli. The architects left more than memories. They left their children. The betrayal. The child stood silently beside Sari. Its skin was smooth like metal but soft as light. Silver veins glowed beneath the surface. Its eyes were galaxies, wide, unblinking, full of stars Eli could not name. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Eli felt it, a presence, like something ancient looking through the child's eyes. Something not alive in the way humans understand, but aware. He didn't know what it was, but it wasn't a child. Sari leaned on a tree, for support, her body shaking. Dried blue blood covered her arms. Her light was dimmer now. They found me, she whispered. I escaped through a fault in the dimension. But the child, it found me. Eli kept his distance. What is it? Sari looked at the child, almost with reverence. It's an architect born, a protector, left behind when the others vanished. It carries a piece of the core's will. Eli turned pale. You said the core is breaking. Does this child fix it? She shook her head. No. It remembers the truth. Behind them, thunder rumbled, not from the sky, but the earth. Something deep and massive was stirring. We don't have much time, Eli said. My father told me about a hidden chamber beneath the old observatory. We need to get there before the hunters do. Sari nodded. They'll send someone, worse this time. They started walking through the forest. The child followed silently, always a few steps behind, never blinking, never speaking. Hours passed. The sky grew darker, not from night, but from something spreading across the atmosphere, black clouds with red lightning that didn't flash but pulsed like a heartbeat. They reached the observatory before dusk. It was abandoned, covered in vines, glass cracked, metal rusted. A dead place, but something waited inside. As they stepped through the broken door, Sari stopped. Someone was already there. A man stood near the central platform. He turned slowly, arms crossed, calm smile on his face. "Ray," Eli said, his heart sinking. Ray had been a neighbor, a survivor. The last familiar face Eli had trusted when the world first began to fall. They had shared supplies, helped each other, and even made a plan to escape together. But now, something felt wrong. Too calm. Too clean. Ray's eyes had changed. Sharp. Focused. Metallic at the edges. "You made it," he said. "Good. I was hoping we could do this the easy way." Sari stepped in front of the child. Her body shook. "You're not Ray." Ray smirked. "Not anymore." Then he raised his hand, and the truth revealed itself. His skin flickered. A hologram, and underneath was something else. Not machine, not alien, but a mix. A hybrid. "You're one of them," Eli said. "A hunter in disguise." Ray nodded. "Yes, but smarter, better. I learned from your species, from your kindness, your trust. It made infiltration easy." Eli's fists clenched. "You betrayed us." "No," Ray said, stepping forward, voice cold. "You betrayed them. The architects left you a gift, a world powered by their core, and you wasted it, digging, building, polluting. The core is failing because of you," Sari whispered. "You want the child, to force the memory out of it." Ray smiled. "Of course, that memory holds the location of the last seed, the seed that can rebuild a core or destroy a planet." Eli moved between Ray and the child. "You'll have to go through me." Ray didn't hesitate. He raised a device. A blinding pulse hit Eli in the chest, throwing him back across the room. His vision blurred. Blood filled his mouth. He heard Sari scream, but the child stepped forward, without speaking, without moving its lips. A sound filled the air. A hum, deep and old, like the echo of a forgotten star. The observatory shook. Light spilled from the child's body. Ray tried to move, run, but he couldn't. He was frozen, mid-step like the people in town. Eli crawled toward Sari, grabbing her hand. "We need to leave." The child turned to them and pointed toward the ground. The floor cracked open, beneath it, stairs, carved in stone, leading deep underground. Sari gasped. "The chamber, the memory vault, it's real." They descended into darkness, leaving Ray behind, trapped in a frozen moment. As they reached the final step, lights awakened around them. Ancient, blue, and soft, a giant stone door stood before them, and etched on it were symbols, human letters mixed with alien shapes. One word stood out in glowing red. Eli. Sari looked at him, her voice shaking. "This vault was made for you," and behind the door, something began to unlock. The last core. The stone door opened slowly. It didn't swing or slide, it simply dissolved, like dust fading in reverse. Cold air rushed out, filled with the scent of ancient metal, forgotten time, and something alive. Eli stepped forward, his breath visible in the freezing air. Sari followed, limping but alert. The child walked silently behind them, its glowing eyes steady, unblinking. Beyond the door was a circular chamber, wide and deep, its walls covered in blue symbols, pulsing with faint light. At the center of the room stood a tall structure. It looked like a tree made of glass and stone, its branches stretching into the ceiling. Inside its core was light, pure, pulsing like a heartbeat trapped in crystal. Sari's voice trembled. "This is the memory vault, the last core. The architects left it behind in case the main one failed." Eli stepped closer, staring into the tree of light. As he did, the room changed. The symbols on the walls lit up. They shifted, rearranged, and began to tell a story. Not with words, with images. The truth of Earth. Earth wasn't born. It was built. A long time ago, when the universe was young, the architects came. Not gods, not machines. something between. They didn't conquer, they seeded. They shaped lifeless planets and planted cores inside, powerful machines that created gravity, oceans, weather, and life. Earth was one of those worlds, but Earth was special. Its core had a dual purpose: to give life and to remember. A living archive, a backup of architect knowledge. And then, the architects vanished. No one knew why. They left behind their creations, including Earth. For thousands of years, the planet grew wild, civilizations rose, humanity forgot, until something woke up. A signal, a call, from somewhere outside the galaxy. It reached the core and began draining it. Eli stumbled back. They didn't just build the core, they left memories inside it. Sari nodded. And the core recognized your blood. He looked at her, confused. What does that mean? She took a deep breath. Your father was human, but your mother, she was one of us, not Tyrene, not architect, something in between. A guardian placed here to protect the memory vault. Eli's hands shook. You're saying I was born to open this? No, she said. You were born to decide. The child raised its hand. From the ground, a hidden platform rose. A glowing console with two halves, one red, one white. Sari walked to it and pointed. One side activates the last core. It will stabilize the planet, rebuild what is breaking, but it will destroy all machines that are not part of Earth, including me and the child. Eli's mouth went dry. And the other? It stops the core, freezes Earth's collapse, but allows the hunters to open the Skygate and access. Architect power. They will rebuild Earth in their image. You will survive, but the Earth you know will die. The choice was his. Before he could speak, the entire vault shook violently. Something had found them. A loud crash echoed above. Ray, or what was left of him, above ground. Ray was no longer human. The disguise was gone. His body had grown. Long, twisted limbs, metal fused with flesh. Red lights blinked across his spine. His voice was deeper now, like a machine growling through a hurricane. He smashed through the remains of the observatory, crawling toward the vault entrance like a spider with too many legs. Inside, Sari's glow dimmed. We don't have much time. Eli turned to her. If I activate the core, you'll die? She smiled sadly. I was never meant to stay. My mission ends here. He looked at the child. It just stared, silent. So much power, so much innocence, and yet not human. The vault door began to pulse. A timer had started. A final failsafe. Eli stood at the console. His hands hovered between the two sides. Save the world and lose everything he had left, or keep Sari and the child, and let the Earth become something else. The ground split behind them. Ray crawled in, his face twisted but still speaking. You don't belong to them, Eli. You're part of something greater. Make the smart choice. We can make you a god. Eli turned to Sari one last time. She reached out and touched his hand. Whatever you choose, remember who you are. Eli slammed his palm down. A flash of white light exploded from the core. Ray screamed. The ground shattered and the world held its breath. Then, everything went silent. She gave everything. The light did not fade. It consumed the chamber like a rising sun trapped underground, white, pure, and endless. Eli stood in the middle of it, unmoving, breathless. His body burned, not from heat, but from memory. Every memory, not just his own. The architect's minds flooded through him, knowledge older than galaxies, written not in words but in music, geometry, and silence. He saw how stars were shaped, how life was guided, how Earth was built, not as a planet but as a message in stone, hidden in plain sight. The core had opened, and it was listening. Above ground, the Earth shook like a wounded animal. Mountains cracked, oceans boiled at their edges, cities flickered, satellites fell like birds from the sky. Ray, or the twisted thing wearing his skin, howled as the wave of energy reached him. His body, made of stolen power, began to tear apart. His scream echoed across dimensions as light devoured him, cell by cell, wire by wire, until there was nothing left but dust. He did not die. He was unmade. In the vault, the child fell to its knees. Its silver skin turned white, light escaping from the cracks like it couldn't hold the truth anymore. Its voice entered Eli's mind for the first time, not a sound, but a thought. Thank you. Then the child collapsed into ash and drifted away, returning to the core it was born from. Sari stood nearby, her body trembling. The white light crawled up her arms like snow melting upward. She smiled. Eli turned to her, his eyes filled with tears. You'll be gone too. She nodded, glowing now like a star inside a dying shell. I was never meant to stay. I am a bridge, and the bridge must break for the road to be built. Reached for her. Please, there has to be another way. She gently touched his face. Her fingers were warm. I found something here, she whispered. Something stronger than memory, than power. I found you. As the light rose, she stepped back. The floor around her turned to air. Her body dissolved slowly, piece by piece, not in pain but peace. Like light returning to its source, her final words echoed, "Protect your world, Eli. You are never alone." And then she was gone. The silence after time stopped. The core completed its cycle. The light dimmed. Eli collapsed to his knees, alone in the great vault, surrounded by silence and stone. But Earth had changed. Above, the sky was no longer red. It turned blue again, not instantly, but like dawn slowly rising after an endless night. The clouds softened. The winds returned. Trees that had withered began to move again. Frozen people in towns and cities blinked, waking as if from a long, strange dream. They would not remember what happened. But the world would. The machines of the hunters melted. Their portals closed. Their ships disappeared. All foreign technology was purged, as if Earth itself had rejected anything that didn't belong. The core had spoken, and it had chosen life. 1 year later, Eli stood on a quiet hill, overlooking the forest where it had all begun. The observatory. Ruins were gone, replaced by a massive glowing tree, the last core, now growing from the earth like it had always been there. Its light was soft now, gentle. Inside it, he knew, was Sari, not her body, but her presence, her memory, her choice. He wore a small crystal around his neck, a piece of the architect vault, humming faintly whenever he touched it. Earth was healing, but not just Earth. People were changing. Children were being born with strange eyes. Some could sense storms before they came. Others could speak without sound. The architect legacy had not vanished. It had rooted. A new age was beginning. That night, Eli walked back to his cabin. The stars were brighter now. He looked up, and for a moment, he saw a shape moving through the sky. Silver, elegant, like a bird made of starlight. He smiled. "Hello, Sari," he whispered. The light faded into the stars, and Earth turned quietly beneath him, still alive, still whole, because she gave everything.